we're going to be talking about The Show. Peter Pan was a reach. It would have been so cool. Put a finger down if you were jump scared by a harmonica. The saxophone? A little bit, tiny bit disappointed. ABBA vibes. Hey Angel by One Direction. Harry has his horns. We're going to get Niall in the saxophone. Pop masterpiece. I don't think it was on purpose from his side, but I appreciate it from my side. Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is Bella Has Opinions with me, Bella. And in this video, we're going to be talking about The Show, which is Niall's new album. Allow me to take you back to about 2 months ago, where I posted this video called, Can I Predict Niall Horan's New Album? My Hopes, Guesses, and Dreams for The Show. Now that the album has been released, I thought it could be fun to revisit that video and see what my expectations and hopes and dreams for the album was versus what it actually turned out to be, and maybe I actually predicted some stuff. So yeah, grab a cup of coffee, tea, wine, beer, water, and let's get into this video. So the video is going to be structured as follows. First, we're going to go over my predictions along with my opinions on it. We're going to start out with the overall album predictions that I had, and then we're going to go into the individual song predictions. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my song rankings so you can disagree with me in the comments, because that's what they're there for. By the way, I've already covered a lot of the songs on the album. I've covered, let me get this right, Heaven, Meltdown, You Could Start It Cold, The Show, Science, and I've done mini covers of all of the songs on the album, so they're all up on my channel. You can go find them after this video, or you can watch them and then come back to this video. Whatever floats your boat. And with that, let's get into the predictions. Overall, I think the album will be very funky in sound. I know Niall said that it was going to be pretty retro in sound, and it also correlates to the next point, which is more odd sounds. For example, in Heaven, we had the siren in the back, the wee wee. I also think we're gonna have more references to like sun, sky, clouds, shine, angel throughout the entire album. Also candle, burning, all of that. I think it's gonna be a generally upbeat album and very guitar dominated. I think he's also gonna be lyrically somewhere between Louis and Harry on a spectrum. Lastly, I think we're gonna have way more high notes than we've had from Niall in previous albums. So yes, the album is very funky in sound, and I think it's really, really well produced. Like, as a producer in the making, I spend a lot of my energy listening to the production of the song as well, and there are so many things where I'm like, ooh, this is so cool. Like some of the background vocals, some of the sound effects, I just find them very well produced, all of the songs, and I just really appreciate it, and it made me really happy, and the songs are fucking amazing. So in regards to odd sounds, I will give myself a yes for this one, because they're not odd in a bad way, they're odd in a, oh, I didn't expect this kind of way. It's everything from the sirens in Heaven, the harmonica, and You Could Start a Cult, and like the background vocals, some of them are very odd and they just come out of nowhere and you're like, somehow it works, and somehow it makes the song more interesting, and it gives a more fun layer to the song. Oddly enough, we have so many references to sun, shine, and lights. We have You'll Have Your Days in the Sun from Science. We have Looking at the Sun Our Whole Lives from The Show. We have The World's Too Heavy to Shine from Science. We have I'm Seeing a New Light from Save My Life. We have We're Turning Out the Lights from Never Grow Up, and we have Blinded by the Lights from The Show. I like how there's a combination of different types of guitars on the different songs, and it kind of switches which is the most dominant in the song depending on the part of the song, and I just really like the contrast between the different guitars. I don't know, that's very nerdy, but like, moving on. I stand by the fact that Niall, lyrically, as a songwriter, is somewhere between Louis and Harry on the spectrum. I have talked about the spectrum before. I'll link one of my other videos to it where I explain it. They're all amazing songwriters and they all have their own songwriting style, but it's also fun to see that some of the songs remind me a lot of either their own previous albums, but also previous One Direction albums. So it's really fun to see how they've grown and how it's still cohesive in their songwriting, but also how they've evolved. Does that make sense? In regards to high notes, there are some, but not as many as I expected, but that's okay because it still fits with the songs. And yeah, other than, what I expected overall for the album, I also have some thoughts and opinions. Some of them I've already shared, But other than those that I've already shared, I have to admit, I didn't expect it to be so anxiety focused. It's a good addition to his entire portfolio of music, and I really appreciate him being, vulnerable like that and taking something like anxiety and then putting it to a fun pop beat. So yeah, let's get into the individual song predictions. By the way, when I filmed this prediction video, Heaven was already out, so it didn't make sense to predict Heaven, so I did not predict Heaven. So let's move on swiftly. If You Leave Me is the second song on the album, and I don't think you would make the second song on the album a sad song, because that would kind of ruin the mood once you start. So I think that means that the vibe has to be, if you leave me, I'm gonna be just fine. If you leave me, it doesn't matter because I'm good on my own. I think the production overall is gonna be really nice. Guitar, probably electric with some epic drums. So maybe some gang vocals, that could be fun too. So I was correct in it not being a sad song because, it's very much upbeat. So instead of if you leave me, I'll be just fine, it's if you leave me, I'll be not fine. So it's basically the opposite, which, oh well. I overall really just love the vibe of the songs. It's very groovy and it's very, mood boosting. And the production, as I've said before, on this entire album is so good, but the production on this song is just chef's kiss. In terms of Meltdown, I think we're gonna have a Candle reference. Something like, you're so hot, you're causing a meltdown. I think it's also gonna be very in the vibe of, what's the song? Tell me what you want because you know I want it too. Let's give up. Small talk. I think it's gonna be very small talk-y in production or vibe. I really thought that there would be more Candle references in this album, and I thought Meltdown would for sure have a candle because a candle melts. But no. So the only candle is in Heaven. I thought that there would be more Candle stuff with how many candles he sent out to people. It's also not, you're so hot, you're causing a meltdown. It is more, I'm having a breakdown, meltdown, but apparently not. Well, my mistake. Overall, I really like the yeahs in the background of the verses. The talking to yourself, yeah. In the bathroom, losing your mind in the mirror like you have to. I also really like the fast pace of the song. It feels very frantic, which I know he intended, so job well done. I also really like the high note here and the harmonies. I would love for there to be a mention of Peter Pan or something like that, or Turn Back Time or Rewind or something like that. I think that could be really good. I also put the One Direction song Live While We're Young because I think that's the vibe, not production wise or genre wise, but lyrically and, message wise. I think that's gonna be what it is. I knew that Peter Pan was a reach. It would have been so cool. But I also understand that it's in a different context and, whatever. It also does not give Live While We're Young vibes in the sense of, it's not let's live while we're young, it's let's stay young forever. I also wouldn't classify it as upbeat. It's actually pretty chill. There's also no Turn Back Time, Rewind, because it's less of a, I wish I could go back in time to when we never grew up or whatever. But it's more of let's stay this way forever. I love at the end when he goes, yeah, we never ever ever grow up. It's just so good. It's just such a nice ad-lib. Just perfect. I also, in the lyrics, it reminded me of in Flicker, where he goes, asking questions to the ceiling. And I really like how it's interconnected like that. I don't think it was on purpose from his side, but I appreciate it from my side. For the show, I think since it's the title track, it has to be epic. The production has to be massive. It has to be over the top. There's gonna be gang vocals. I'm not gonna lie, I would be a little bit disappointed if we don't have show terminology, tickets, find your seats. The show is definitely epic, big production, over the top, amazing. But I am a little bit, tiny bit disappointed in the lack of show terminology. I think I expected it to be more literal, but not fully literal. More of the show rather than how to fake a show. So to conclude, it's a me problem, not a Niall problem. The song is great. One of my favorite things about this song is the transition between the chorus and the second verse, where he goes, I can't reach that low, but he does. It really did something amazing to my brain and it made me really happy. I also really like the bridge. It just is so epic, and the harmonies and the instruments and the violins and the strings and all of it. So good. I also really love how he goes, hold tight, get ready for the ride, and then later he goes, we're still not ready for the ride. I love when songwriters loop around or like connect different sections of the song. That's just so nice to me. It just feels well thought out. I have nothing more to say. Let's move on. For You Could Start a Cult, I love the title of this song. I think we're gonna have words such as devotion, attached, follow blindly, and I think it's gonna be very guitar heavy in the production. I still love this title. It's the best title on the album. There is no devotion, attached, or follow blindly explicitly. However, I guess it's somewhat, indirectly there is, but like, no. The lyrics are truly just like telling a story, which I really appreciate, and they're just like so unique lyrics wise, and I really like this song. Also, I cannot be the only one who was shocked by the harmonica. I was like listening to this song and like feeling pretty emotional, and then out of nowhere this harmonica comes in, and I didn't expect it, but I have grown to love it. But it was definitely a jump scare. Put a finger down if you were jump scared by a harmonica and You Could Start a Cult. Moving on. Save My Life, I think in the album, track list situation, I think this is the time in the album where you kind of have the ballad section of the album. I want it to be very San Francisco-y in vibe. Something in the line of I need you to save my life or won't you save my life. And a last thought, I think he's gonna have the word night in there because it rhymes-ish with life. Save My Life is not a ballad. It is also not very San Francisco-y. It is also not I need you to save my life. Instead, it's you might save my life. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I watched Mamma Mia and Mamma Mia 2. It weirdly gives me ABBA vibes. I don't know if that's just me. It might just be me. The most iconic thing about this song is in the second verse, he goes Interstellar, and then there's a background chorus of and it's just heavenly. It just gives so much to the song. Also, speaking of giving to the song, the saxophone, ? Is it a saxophone? I think it's a saxophone. Very nice touch. I hope that live on tour, we're gonna get the saxophone. Kind of like Harry has his horns, we're gonna get Niall in the saxophone. That could be fucking iconic. So, fingers crossed, let's move on. For On a Night Like Tonight, my prediction is that it's gonna be AM vibes. Also, I think it's gonna be mid-tempo. And I think we're gonna have words like eyes or shine or stars or moon or something in that sense. Like night references. I think there's maybe gonna be drinking references. And also, I think if you've heard Sam Smith's One Day at a Time, I think it could be a good comparison of what I'm envisioning in my head. I cannot be the only one who thought that On a Night Like Tonight, the intro reminds me of Hey Angel by One Direction. It is mid-tempo, which I really appreciate. I like how it starts out very soft, but then it just goes into this like pop masterpiece. There are eyes, stars, and moon. Specifically in Super Moon, Watch It Dance in Your Eyes, and Are We Just Two Stars Passing By. Also, there's no drinking reference. Also, very much not like Sam Smith, One Day at a Time. Very much no. Overall, I really think the vocal stack in the chorus is, again, heavenly. Also, a fun little association I had was he goes like summer skin and taste like, and it reminded me of Tastes like strawberries on a summer evening. And that's all I have to say. Let's move on. Science was one of the songs that I immediately, when I read the track list, I was like, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be good. But I hope it's a ballad. And I also think in general in the lyrics, we're going to have some like the word crying or tears or something like that. If it's a ballad with guitars or whatnot, I think, or I would hope that there is some really cool atmospheric background sounds to give more depth and more emotion to the song. I also crossed my fingers a little bit for a violin somewhere in this album, and if it's a ballad, then I want it to be in this song. I think it's going to be similar, or I hope it's going to be similar to his song Flicker. I want an emotional ballad, and this is going to be it. This is going to be it. I can feel it in my bones. Science is definitely a ballad. It is definitely interesting. He did not rhyme science with crying or silence. There are so many interesting background vocals. Also, a violin if we're lucky. We are. There are so many violins, strings, cello, all of it. Flicker equivalent. I would say yes, for sure. For sure. It gives the same vibe. Maybe not the same meaning and all of that, but like same vibe. You know, this song is my favorite off of the album, and it's totally my style and my preference for music, and I love it so much. Must Be Love. I think it's gonna be an epic, dancey ending to the album, like ending on a high note for the entire album, and you know, I think the vibe is gonna be in the sense of if I'm feeling like this, then it must be love. Must Be Love is definitely an epic, dancey ending to the album. Also, it is ending on a high note. Also, it does fit the if I'm feeling like this, it must be love. I like the la la la's in the chorus. It just makes the song more fun. And I think that that's a good thing for the end of the album. And I think out of all of the songs, this one must have been the most fun to record. I can just imagine Niall and the other people he had producing this just standing and just doing the gang vocals for the song. And it's just so good. Also the verses, the lyrics are so good. And it's such a fun song because you have the verses that are a bit more chill, and then you have the chorus, which is just like fully off the rails, and it's just in the best way. And yeah, I really like the song a lot. I'm not gonna go into depth with why these songs are my favorite or not, but here are my favorites and least favorites. The good thing about music is that it's subjective, so if you like the show, then good for you. I also like the show, but just not as much as the other ones, you know? So yeah, thank you so much if you made it this far into the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, stay tuned for more covers coming within the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, the entirety of summer. I have so many videos planned. If you have any song requests, please comment them down below, or just, any video ideas you want me to do. And yeah, have a nice day, have a nice week, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!